Hi, Steve Kunkel here, just demoing this tool I made. Thought I'd share it with others. I'm a school psychologist in a public school district, and I have to type a lot about students, lots of repetitive text that is about people that is written in third person. So if you have a similar job, then this might be useful for you. So just a quick demo here. Have Notepad up and then hit the hotkey, which is Control Shift Alt W by default, but that can be changed. And so you can see target window is locked into Notepad, Untitled Notepad, which is in the title here, Untitled Notepad. So it's going to type into that. And then where it says student, I'm just going to put Jimmy. And then quick sample, it's just going to type out, hello, Jimmy. He customizes it by putting the kid's name in there, which makes it more personal, less generic, which is probably kind of nice. The real reason I made this thing is for typing into web forms. So so this is tester student, not a real student I'm showing here, but this is our real database that we use at my school district, Embrace IEP. There are other similar ones. It seems like they're all like gone web-based now, so there's a good chance you also use one uh, that is a web-based database if you're working in a public school district and uh, and are a special educator. So prior written notice here, and these web forms all basically the same in the sense that you type into them, and it's all raw text. You can't put tables or anything like that in there. You type and then you hit tab. Hit tab twice for this particular form. So tap to type and then tab. I have to point out that the our school district does give us um, some options for pre-written text here, which is nice. I like to use my own text, and so that's what I do. So the tool is designed for filling out forms like this one. Another important thing is that the form never changes unless the web developers add to it, which means that I can make different templates, different entries that will type in different things as long as I follow the same rule. I type about the description of the action, and then tab, the reason of proposing or refusing, and then tab, and so on. Uh, and then at the bottom, same kind of thing. All this stuff at the bottom could be navigated with tabs and spaces and whatnot. So let's do an example here. So just got a example one with some gibberish in here. So it's remembering Jimmy because that's what we just did. And then we want PWN sample. And there it is. So it types all the stuff in pretty quick, right? A lot faster than you can type it by hand. And it does the check mark for me, my name, phone number, name, title, right? So yeah, so there's that. And let's see, actually, before I leave this, let's look at the definition of where I'm telling the WayText application to type this specific thing. So again, Control Alt Shift W, and brings up the main form. And you can see down here, we got some of the buttons, insert, schools, notices, and the Greek sigh and escape. So notices is the definition of all these things here. And if I open that, you'll see that it is actually this one here, PWN template, as it appears here. That was the thing I clicked on to activate the whole thing. And then it has the verbiage. Actually, let me escape here, move this over. So the verbiage for the top one, and then tab, and you can see it's saying so reason for action, paste, and then next field, type tab, so on. Gets to the bottom. This is how it enters the checkbox and everything is with this. Uh, um, let's see. Oh, it's this down here. Parent rights type. So 4 tabs, tab, and then a space, and then down at the bottom signature. So you can look at more closely at that later, and we'll take another look at how the this ini file has to be structured. But first, just to finish my demo here, talk about some of the advantages of this thing. the So it has it can be customized, put the kid's name in each one. So potentially each text boilerplate uh, entry can have the kid's name in it. And then it has the pronoun fixer. So you notice we have male and female. And those are pretty easy. Binomial gender, or you type it up and you just put the codes in for the pronouns, and it makes it either male or female. The neutral one is a little more tricky because it's non-binomial, makes the grammar a little bit different. And so this tool actually does kind of a pretty good job of fixing some of that grammar. And so we'll just, you know, the pronouns tester here. I encourage you to go through in Notepad and type it out as male or female, and then type it out again as neutral, and look at the differences and how it fixes the grammar. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. So let's see. So I wanted to make this so that you could update the wording of these things like pretty quickly without having to completely rebuild the application. And so that's what we did. So again, click notices, type this, hit save, and then as soon as you escape and then relaunch this, those changes are ready for you. And it's pink now. I'll explain that in a minute. But let's see here. So I showed you how it can do the paste or the type. Supports multiple buildings here. And the reason I have the buildings as a separate list here is because I didn't want to have to rewrite my notice definitions every single time I got assigned to a new building. And so the building assignments here are here, and then the notice definitions have just a generic little code that inserts whatever building you've clicked on, right? So okay, so there's that, and then let's see here. The tool knows your schedule. So quick look at the Greek side down here is for the settings. So click this, settings come up, and then schedule, right? So at Monday it thinks I'm at happy day, and then Tuesday is sky high. And what is, let's see, I'm recording this on, what is today, Thursday? Oh no, Friday, December 24th. So Friday thinks I'm at happy day, and so sure enough, that's what it selected, happy day. If you change the schools or rearrange the schools, you'll have to update this list here because it references by the position of the school in the any file. So okay, let's see. Another thing I guess I will also point out, since I have this thing here open, is the editor. So if you have a preferred editor, you can choose your own different editor. I have it set for the default. Site is the name of this Scintilla editor. And so once you've unzipped this folder and put it somewhere, hopefully not on your desktop like I've done, because you don't want a cluttered desktop, but put it somewhere on your computer, unzip it, and then click this Use Embedded Psy so that it will attach itself to the Psy editor in the download. Okay, and let's see. Last thing I'll show you right now on this is the what is it? Activation mode. Here we go. So for my day-to-day use, I actually have a master script that is always running in the background, and it calls this this tool and activates it externally. So I use it. I use this mode, activated by another script. So exit each time. If you don't have that other tool running in the background, you probably want to use stay running in RAM and use hotkey to launch. And here is where you can reassign the hotkey if you want. Just click on this and hit your new hotkey. And then if you want it to start with Windows, you can click here, and it'll put a little startup entry in Windows to start when you restart your computer. Other than that, that is the only thing that makes a change on your computer system. So other than that, it doesn't create any files or anything like that. Let's see here. Okay, so close this for now. And what do I want to talk about next? So knows your schedule. We talked about that. Remembers the student. So we typed in Jimmy there. Hit escape. Pop it up again. Jimmy's still there. So it has a memory for the name, gender, and location. And the location it remembers will supersede the pre-defined schedule things that we just looked at. So if the schedule says I'm supposed to be a happy day, but I'm working on a student from Sunny Hill, it'll remember Sunny Hill. And the memory thing, I guess I'll put the pop up again here with the settings. So pre-fill is the setting for that. So remember the last used student information. So if you uncheck that, it'll just default and just say student up here each time. And then this here is how many minutes you want it to remember. So you probably don't want it to remember the student you were working on forever, but you probably maybe do want it to remember for a few minutes. So there is that setting. Okay, let's see here. Remembers the active window. All right, I'm reading from the list down here if you're curious. There's the list. Remembers active window. So target window here, you'll see it says untitled notepad. And I made it like that because it's really annoying if you accidentally activate the tool when you're like in your file browser, and then all of a sudden you start sending key presses to this. Type. It just it confuses Windows. And so I wanted it to not type when this is active, but to wait for this to become active again. So here it is. So let's see here. Let's give it a try. So Notepad. I clicked on Notepad. I hit the hotkey, and then now let's say I looked here for some reason, clicked on the background, clicked on this, came over here, and then hit quick sample again. Okay, so it's not doing anything. It's waiting, and when this is active again, types it in. Okay, very nice. Worked like it was supposed to. Okay, so let's see. I guess the other big benefit of this selling point is that it's free and it's portable. So portable meaning that you don't have to install it on your computer. You can just unzip it. Probably if you if you got this from Donation Coder, which is where I'm going to post it, you probably downloaded the zip file, you right-clicked on the zip file, and then you clicked extract. And again, you can put it right here on your desktop if you want. I would put it somewhere more organized than that. You could put it in a cloud drive if you want, OneDrive, Google Drive. I'm sure that would work fine. Doesn't need to be in your program files folder. Program files is where Windows usually puts applications. Doesn't have to be there. In fact, if you're not an administrator of your computer, which many certified school staff are not, then you probably don't have access to your program files folder anyway. And indeed, you don't need to be an administrator of your computer to run this, right? Okay, so that's good. So let's see. So no black box is another selling point I have here. No black box. And what I mean by that is that I've not compiled this and password protected the script. So WayText right here is the. If you want to look at that, you can look at all the yummy code that this thing is made with, and that's how it works. What happens is the application file here with the yellow, the green H and the white background. That's auto hotkey. So let's have a look at auto hotkey. So I had the web page up. Here it is. So auto hotkey is an awesome free thing that's been around for a long time. Knocking on wood, that has never triggered any alarms with the overprotective antivirus software that different school districts use. So pretty safe, good history. And this too is open source. So if you looked around on the internet, you could probably find where the code that makes auto hotkey work is located. So if you're interested in this, you could click download here. The documentation is here. Really good documentation. You read about how auto hotkey works. And then the forums, you wouldn't contact the forums to ask about how my particular tool works, but if you got interested in auto hotkey and optimization and wanted to customize the tool yourself, then you could do that. Okay, so let's see here. So the auto hotkey file is this thing here, and it probably doesn't have this icon on your computer. It's probably a generic computer because Windows doesn't know how to open it. If you were to double click that, it probably would make you choose an application. Similarly, if you go into this subfolder, WT files, right, we got some INI files here. I also have the INI files assigned to this site editor. But again, for you, it'll, INI, it'll be a generic icon. You'll click it. Windows will say, oh my gosh, I don't know how to open this. What do I do? You could choose Notepad if you wanted to. That would be fine. In fact, let's see here. Oh, nope, don't save. Oh, there it is. And this is what it would look like if you opened it in Notepad. Much easier to understand if you open it with site. So this thing here, the same thing, schools, open it in the site. So site is the Scintilla text editor, made by one of those AutoHotkey gurus on the AutoHotkey forum. So I can't take credit for this. Made by somebody else, but I've included it in the download. So okay. So hopefully you're using this to look at the ini files. All right, let me look at my notes here and see what's next. So replacements. Oh, we should let's see. We talked about the download, the forum, the documentation for AutoHotkey, the replacements. So the replacements for the pronouns and the name are this. Um, Actually, I guess the next thing I'll talk about, since this popped up pink again, is the different colors. So as I mentioned, the thing will locks into the window, and so it's really annoying if it types into cyberspace or types into the wrong window. What this is doing here is it is recognizing that I have activated the tool in a non-preferred window, right? So this is not Embrace IEP web form database, and it's not Notepad. It's Program Manager, which is the desktop here. And so I made it a completely different color so that it would be like really easy to tell that, hey, you're about to type into something you don't want to type into. So again, hit cancel. If Notepad is active, click in that, get the gray again. And you can customize those colors back here with the psi symbol for the settings. And let's see here, colors, here it is. So here is this bubble gum is an assigned color here. Uh, and that's the pink one that we saw. And then this lavender gray is the background here. And then the font, the colors it's written in is just black. And so there are drop-down lists here. And so each of these colors has the name on the left, and then the what is this? A 6-character hex code on the right. And so so you can pick one of these, right? Yep. Or you can, and by the way, I'm up down arrow or rolling the mouse button while this is highlighted will change the colors here. So let's see if we can find something. Oh, I don't know. I guess maybe we'll just not do any of those. But I do want to show you that with the colors. Let's see, what do I want to show you? If I go to change this one, this is the warning color, the bubble gum. So if I change that, it's going to preview it in the entire window here. But when you click apply or apply then close, then it will get applied to the entire form here. Note that any setting that you change in here, before you see the difference in here, you have to completely close the thing out of RAM or restart it. And the way you would do that, so if you wanted to just close the thing altogether, let's see, I don't know why there's two. Oh, that's the settings, and that's the tool. So right click on that, and then let's see, reload script. And I'll just go ahead and do that so that you can see the lavender gray take effect over here. So let's see, reload script, and then pop up again. And oh shoot, you know what? I'm gonna have to restart the script. Sorry about that. So open this, and this is the tool. And it's a non-preferred window again. It's locking onto this folder here that I started it from. So close, and then come on, you. Bloody hell. All right, let me close this. Try this again. Application. Good. Escape. Close the window. Hit the hotkey. Okay, I see what's happened. So open this, and I think go to settings, and then activated from another script. So exit each time. That setting was chosen, and that's the reason kept closing. Okay, so stay in RAM. Choose that. Apply. Okay. Close this, restart. And if all is well, then there we go. Okay, didn't remember that color that we were working on, but that's okay. Next thing. Oh, that's right. We were talking about the replacement codes. So before we go to the replacement codes, we will talk about the different files. So well, first of all, if you change the colors, it's all good. You change the font color, the form color, and then the form color for warning you if it's a non-preferred window. It looks kind of nice if you have a dark colored form with light colored, uh, font, but it's noteworthy that these lists here, this thing here, will always be black on white. I don't know how to change those. I think it's a Windows setting. And same thing for the tests tab here. You can experiment with the tests tab on your own. We've got two different NE files here, suffixes and tests. And then for the main one here, schools and notices. And of course, the schools one is this. So edit this, and lo and behold, the schools here. Happy day, sunny hill, sky high, right here. And then the notices are these. So first thing, this Scintilla site editor, you can fold each entry here. You can also go to view and toggle all of them, right? And you'll notice that the list here is it's the same as the list here. This list will shrink and grow as you add more. If you add too many, it'll start to scroll so that the form doesn't go all the way out the window. Let's see. So where are our so pronoun example? So check out the brackets here. So bracket in, and the lowercase n with a bracket on each side is the name, and then he, him is em, and then let's see, s is his. And if you look, go to the download, and you'll see the tips thing. WayText, wait here, WayTips. Look at that, and it lists all of the different replacement codes that you put in there for the name and the pronouns and whatnot. Okay, so let's see. Where are we now? I want to talk about any structure. So this is the any form we keep looking at, and any INI. So it's similar to a text document because you can't put like tables or bold or anything like that. This has bold because that's the syntax, automatic syntax rules that Scite is using. But when we looked at it in Notepad there, when we looked at it in Notepad, we saw that it was just raw text, right? So see, notice definitions. There it is, and rule with any file. So what an any file is a specific type of file. It's an initialization file, sometimes called a configuration file. And back in the old days, Windows, it would open up a computer application, and that would have the settings that you last used. And that's what we're doing with this thing here. So let's see, I'll close the main tool. So this here, I open it up. It has those settings. See, it's remembered stay in RAM, which I assigned a little bit ago after I got confused myself. It remembers the colors. And the reason it remembers all that is because this file right here, settings.ini, it has all of those things, right? And so we make the changes in here, we click save, and then it changes this file. And then we open this thing here, and it reads this, and it applies in here. Or if you open WayText, the main tool, it reads from there as well. So that's the more traditional way an any file gets used. For this here, any files are not designed for text entry replacement boilerplate things, but that's how we're using them. And so we have here these sections. So an any file it has a section, and the section is contained in brackets, all in one line. So that's a section name. And then inside of the section are like keys, like they're like subsections. So it's the key, and then an equal sign, and then the key value. The key value is the thing that gets typed, and the key here is just kind of a placeholder for us to use as we're building our templates here. Uh, and you'll see, go back to this. This is the one we started with, the PWN sample with all the gibberish in it. Description of action. And so it allows me to reuse this template. I could delete all this junk here, and maybe I want to make another template for transfer kids. And so I want to talk about transfer kids. And so the description of action, I know what this section of the replacement text is supposed to talk about. Undo. And then notice that we can also embed other things here. It says paste. And that's the reason it pastes this. But then it says type, because with the tab character, you can't just paste that in. Otherwise, it won't simulate tab key presses. So that would be type. So next field, type, and then paste, so on. And let's see here. I guess I'll show you now before we go to the next thing, I'll show you the comments. So you'll notice up here this green thing here, see bottom for hints. If it starts with a semicolon, this line starts with a semicolon, that is invisible to the computer. So that is just for human-friendly notes, right? And so you'll see with each of these, I have a double line separating them. And that's it's a comment. So semicolon, and then just equal. And then let's see here at the bottom, I think I have some additional things. Let's see. Here's those codes, the N, M, S, R, C. I think I'm seeing a mistake in there. I don't know where the he, him, his, the he, she, there. That's okay. Let's see. Okay. Next thing we want to do is I was going to show you the mini forms. Okay. Mini forms. Okay, because here's what happens. You have this any file, and you have a different entry for each like frequently used notice of action or other thing. But sometimes there can be little changes to what is essentially the same prior notice, but different little subcomponents of that notice. And so that's why I made the mini form. So here's the food preferences example. So let's see. So the target window is Notepad, so good there. This is reverted back to student because it's been so long since we did anything. So this time we're going to do Amy, who's a female, and food preference sample. Okay, so first thing it does is when I wrote up the food preference sample, I have a section where I can put in what her favorite foods are. And so Amy will just say that she loves apples, bananas, and cherries, but not oranges. So click that, use, okay. Okay, and then how does she like them? Fresh, canned, probably fresh. So click use. And then how often does she eat them? Daily, weekly, probably less often than she probably should. So click use. Hopefully, if it's working, it's pasted everything in there. Amy loves to eat healthfully. Her favorite fruits are apples, bananas, and cherries. She prefers them fresh. Amy eats fruits less often than she probably should. So, okay, so let's look at the any definition for this particular text entry. Notice it's here, and it's right here. So we have key paste, and then notice the next one, it says punctuated optional. So the key word here is optional. So if it has optional, then the tool knows that the next lines, apples, bananas, cherries, oranges, mangoes, kiwis, are supposed to be, each item is an option on a mini form that pops up, right? So punctuated items all the way down to whatever the next key is, key name, that gets made into a sub mini form that pops up during playback of the text entry item. Notice also when we, let's see, so Notepad is still the target window, so I'm going to hit food sample again. You'll notice that some of these are pre-selected. The most common ones You know, almost all kids like apples and bananas, right? So pre-check those. So on here we have a one space and then apples, and that one space tells it pre-selected. Having a zero space tells it not pre-selected. Or if you were to just leave the two digits off entirely like this, whoops, then that would also be this. It would also work. It would just be, you know, nothing would be pre-selected, obviously. So let's see here. So the next thing to notice is that it says punctuated, right? Punctuated. So what that does is it doesn't just type in apples, bananas, oranges. It types in apples, comma, bananas, comma, and cherries, right? So you puts punctuation between those. If I did not have that punctuation flag, this word here, then it would not put those commas and the word and. Okay, next thing to notice, let me click use, and the next one pops up, the fresh, canned, or frozen. And notice this is a radio button. The last one had little squares, and I could check multiple items. For radio buttons, you can only check one, right? So check this one, the other one unchecks. Okay, and the way that gets defined is right here. So this is the next optional one. It says optional, so this is right here, all in mini form. Okay, fresh, canned, frozen. And then it says radio. It tells the program to use these radio buttons instead. And of course, you would only have one pre-selected one. If I had more that were down here pre-selected like this, it would simply see the bottom one, and the last one that had a one would be the one that was selected. Okay, and then the next one is the same radio key here. So all right, so the pasted rule, you'll notice that the first one says paste, and what happens at runtime is this whole section here, along with this key that says punctuated and optional, that gets removed and replaced with that statement, apples, uh, apples, comma, bananas, and so on. And then it pastes that. So it pastes this, and then it pastes this. If this were to say key, if this said key type, then it would type this and it would type this. So when you do one of these mini forms, the type or the paste is defined by the item before it. Okay. Okay. So let's see here. Next thing. Uh, so talked about any structure, talked about the mini forms, the punctuation, radio buttons, and then I guess let's walk through the let's see, say changes. No, I'm gonna walk through the settings option one more time. Sorry, here we go. We're almost done. And so we looked at activation mode, and then send mode. So this is an important one. So there are different types of send mode that AutoHotkey can use. The safer and faster one is probably the better one. It's unfortunate that in Google Chrome browser, the thing types in the background and you can't see the progress. It doesn't look like it's doing anything. And then all of a sudden it gets to the bottom, and after it's filled in all of those edit fields, then the entire page refreshes and you can see what you've put in there. Pretty annoying because you have to sit there and wait. This option, all right, more visual but prone to errors. You can actually see it typing in, so you can see the key presses occur right in front of you, which is kind of more visually satisfying, but it's more prone to errors. It's a little bit slower, and if you use the safer one, this one's safe because it locks the keyboard and the mouse clicks. So if you accidentally like hit a key while it's typing back, it won't register that key until it's finished typing back the thing that is buffered in the I don't know, the keyboard buffer or whatever it is. The type mode became a little bit moot when I figured out how to do the paste thing. But the problem with the paste thing is that if you send a whole bunch of, oops, that's the pop-up tip. If you send a whole bunch of key pastes one right after another, it confuses Windows. And so this lets you put a text paste delay. And so this is milliseconds, so 100 milliseconds, 1/10 of a second between pastes. Uh, you definitely going to want to have that there if you use the paste thing a lot. And you can experiment with that. Put a bunch of paste paste commands next to each other and then type it out. I don't know why, but in Microsoft Outlook, the paste delay needs to be longer. So if you're entering boilerplate text into like emails, then higher value here, maybe 200 milliseconds. Okay, so editor we've already looked at, and then the files. And so this is a list of the 4 files, the schools, the list of boilerplate entries, which is these here, the notice definitions. And then I'm going to let you guys check out the test description. Type some of these in. This is really not made so much for web forms. It could be used for web forms, but try it out in Notepad. And then let's see here, targets. So the targets here, so notice that I mentioned that it turns this pink ugly color when there's a non-preferred window that we're locking onto as a target window. This is where you define which ones are preferred and non-preferred. So if the target window, if the text string contains one of these, it's preferred, right? And so here, sure enough, here is untitled, which is what Notepad has in it, untitled. And then web-based IEP, that's the Embrace IEP has that. So these, the entire title here doesn't have to have Notepad untitled dash Notepad. It just has to have one or the other of those words, partial match, right? So so untitled word, MT settings, that should be WT settings, and yeah. So you can add those as needed. Okay, the colors we looked at, the schedule we looked at, the pre-fill we looked at, and then the last one is debug. So if you click on this, what happens is as the tool pulls the text item from the ini file and processes it, making all of those changes, going through the mini form, doing the name and pronoun replacements, it'll show a pop-up window of the progress between each of those changes. It could be a lot of pop-up windows depending on which one of these you're using. So, so you can experiment with that too. And then I think that is everything for there. Last thing to look at is the download folder. Okay. Don't save. Okay, so I don't know if it'll have the fancy icon here. I think this is the old disk defrag icon for Microsoft Windows. I don't know. It is one of the default, one of the ones that are built into Windows, though. Anyways, don't know if you'll see that on the folder as you unzip the folder and open it, but you should hopefully see it on the tool when you run the tool. Okay, so you open it up, and it has we looked at the WayText code, the actual thing that I wrote, with much help from those guys at the AutoHotkey forum, and then the application. And what this is actually a download of AutoHotkey.exe, the same one that you can download from that download location I showed you, and I just renamed it WayText. And so you have to have the AHK one and the exe one, the application WayText.exe. They have to be in the same folder, named the same. And similarly, here is WT settings and the exe file for that. Double click that. There it is. Okay, so a couple of other bonuses in here. Tips. You can look through that at your leisure. Some tips. And then the map thing that I have on my desktop right here. No, you don't need to see that, but you do need to have a look at WT settings is a folder that has those INI files. So those files have to be in this folder, and they have to be named as they are. Don't rename these. So the contents of them you can change all you want, but the names of the files have to stay the same. And the last thing to look at is site, and this is the one that I did not make. This is just downloaded from the AutoHotkey site, right? So I think that's everything. And it's a couple of minutes later, and I just watched the video. A couple of other points I wanted to make. Let's see. Well, first of all, I didn't have the file extension showing, so if you wanted to see that, here's the AHK and the corresponding exe that has the same name. With the ini files in here, there's the INI. I told you to change the contents of these. Actually, don't change the content of the settings one. That one gets changed automatically with that settings GUI form that we were looking at before. So that's noteworthy. I suppose with the contents of the thing, let me pop up a notepad window here. These are things that I've built, not great. Just delete these. Put your own template content in there, especially delete the sample ones. Maybe keep a backup just so that you can see how the things are structured with the optional flags and whatnot in there. But mostly these are made for either a prior written notice or some other small embrace web form, or they're content for an email, for sending an email to parents. I don't actually have psych report contents in here because I have a Word document that I use for that. So this tool just doesn't get used for that. So let's see here. Another thing I wanted to point out is the optional or the preferred and non-preferred windows. I have here the checkbox. I didn't show you the checkbox at the bottom. It says use message box if the window is non-preferred. So I'll escape this and then click the desktop, which is non-preferred. Get that ugly pink color. And then since it's telling it to use a message box, it actually won't type into the window there. It will pop up oh, there it is, hiding back there. Hello, student. You can force that pop up anytime by holding down the Shift key while activating the tool. So if for some reason you don't want to type everything in there, just hold down the Shift key. No, not the Enter key. It's got to be the Shift key. Here we go. So food sample. So use, and there it gets popped up instead of typing. Okay, so there's that. Let's also look real quick at the color thing here. I showed you the list here. It has the name on one side, the 6-digit hex code. You can actually, if you have the 6-digit hex code, you can just paste the hex code right in here. You don't actually have to choose one from the list. And there's even a little color picker down here. You can click that and it'll give you a color picker so you can a sample of color from your desktop. Let's see here. And I think that is everything. So I guess I'm going to go ahead and post the download folder, zipped up folder on donationcoder.com. So go to donationcoder. I'll submit this as a entry for the new apps for a new year, Nanny 2022. So on that note, everyone have a good holidays and a happy 2022. Here's to a better year. All right, cheers.